Sure, so I joined Plymouth State University in fall of 2018, and I am the video production teaching faculty here. So my main responsibility is to teach most of the production courses. When I chose Plymouth initially and I met the students, I was just so impressed with how their drive, they really created something on their own volition and in terms of the film club. And the students, I was introduced to so many students who had an interest in cinematography, had an interest in directing, had an interest in writing, and they were really very persistent about making that happen for themselves. So I felt with that type of drive, in an environment that for the most part doesn't necessarily have a film industry, they were creating one. So I wanted to be a part of that movement. My professional background straddles both journalism and film production, as well as education. I was a college student and I worked at the television station at Howard University. I was a producer, an anchor, as well as a writer. Anything that needed to be done, I did it. Film will change your perspective in like an hour and a half or 30 seconds, right? You can, in a very short period of time, if you make a very cogent story, it will impact people in an indelible way. And so it's not a game, this is a very serious endeavor, and I want people to have the tools and the training and the foundations to make the work that to tell the stories that only they can tell. I guess problem solving and thinking outside of the box and finding a way where there is no way, and all that skill set is what I try to pass on to my students, and that's exactly what a leader has to do. You have to help people, you have to push them to recognize that they have to be persistent and that they only lose when they give up. It's really that simple. Everyone you see who is experiencing a victory has experienced numerous failures before we got to see that shining moment. The main thing I want to accomplish here at Plymouth is I want students first to recognize that they have something inside of their life, in their story, and in the story of their parents and their community that is unique to only them. It's a story that only they can tell. And I want them to dig into that story first. I want them to really get in touch with the various pivotal moments in their life. And I really want to help first generation college students pursue media. That was just the most important thing to me, because I had gone to school with lots of really talented people, but they were all very wealthy. They had all come from families where, their parents could just write a ticket for them to do anything they wanted to do. And I was like, but the people with the best stories are the people who are struggling, right? Who don't come from those families, but they won't get an opportunity to tell their story. They will have to go and petition the very wealthy to tell the story. And that's just not okay, I'm not all right with that. So I think a lot of things have changed in the film industry, and now equipment is a lot less expensive and it's far more accessible than it ever was at any other point in time in history. So the story can be told by the people who've actually lived it. And when I came here, the demographic of students and the surrounding environments, it was also similar to the school I taught at before, where they were working class families who have gone through everything firsthand. Okay, this is not something they read in a book. It's not something that they saw from a distance. That they didn't sympathize, they empathize because they've actually gone through it. And I want those people to be behind the camera, have the microphone, and understand how to use everything properly to tell compelling and effective for audiences nationwide. So my ultimate goal is to get students' work to be competitive on the world stage, specifically in film festivals, as well as other venues where their work can be evaluated and then awarded into the industry, whatever aspect of the industry they would like to pursue. I don't want people to graduate feeling like, now what do I do? The work, they should graduate feeling completely prepared to go forward and find the best avenue for them to demonstrate their talents and skills and get a check for it, as well as a sense of fulfillment. I think as strong leaders, I always try to, one, identify people's talents and strengths and then bring them into the working machine. It's the idea that you push people a little bit past their limit, a little bit past that limit, and then they achieve things that by themselves they would not be able to, but because of the collective energy of the group, they are. So I think you're a constant motivator and a visionary. Those two things combined, that's the core of any great leader. And then in addition to that, it's about recognizing that we all play different roles, and just like recognize where does this person belong in this infrastructure so that we are as strong as we possibly can be, because you're only as strong as your weakest link. So you want to make sure that you're, putting people in positions where they can grow, develop their skill set, primarily from exposure to what's out there, what's available to them, and then they'll gravitate towards something, and then you help them become great at that thing that they show an interest. I think the main thing about being a great leader too is just recognizing that you have to connect with something that is greater than yourself. It can't be based in ego. It can't be based in, desire for sort of like a very simple desire. It really has to be about legacy. You have to genuinely think, okay, what this big thing that we do right here has ripple effects.